She didn't even flinch when she said it. Just sipped her wine, eyes on the candle like I wasn't even there. You were my biggest mistake in my youth. She said it like she was reading a receipt. I didn't blink. I didn't ask why. I just looked at her and said, then I'll fix that. Now. I stood up. Quiet. No shouting. No dramatic exit. I just walked out the front door, got in the car, and drove. Not to clear my head. Not to cool off. I drove because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. She wasn't just done loving me. She was done hiding it. The signs had been there. Missed calls. Sudden girls' trips. Laughter at text messages she'd never explain. A locked phone when 3 months ago, she didn't even have a passcode. But I buried it all, because I thought if I gave her peace, she'd give me loyalty. I was wrong. By midnight, I was at a motel 2 cities over. My phone had no missed calls. No texts. Nothing. At 2:11 a.m., I finally broke and messaged her. Do you want me to come back? She replied, do what you want. No, I miss you. No, where are you? No, let's talk. Just 7 words. 7 ice-cold nails in the coffin. But this isn't the part where I begged. This is the part where I started watching. And what I found in the next 72 hours shattered everything I thought I knew about my wife. The next morning, I didn't go home. I didn't even go to work. I sat in my car in the motel parking lot, phone in my lap, watching the screen like it owed me something. Still no messages. Still no missed calls. Just silence. A silence she wore like perfume. Around noon, I opened the shared location app we both installed last year when she lost her phone in a cafe. She forgot it was still on. That's when I saw her blue dot moving, slowly, purposefully, north of the city, nowhere near her job. I followed it. Not out of rage. Out of heartbreak, so dense it needed proof. I parked down the street from the address she stopped at. A townhouse with clean windows and an unfamiliar black SUV in the driveway. I waited. 40 minutes. She didn't leave. But someone else came out. A man in joggers and no shirt, with a phone to his ear and no clue who I was. I snapped a photo. Then another. And then one more when I spotted her silhouette walking past the second-floor window. That was all I needed. I didn't go inside. I didn't confront her. I didn't blow it up. I went back to the motel, transferred the photos to my laptop, backed them up to a cloud folder she didn't have access to, and started writing an email to my lawyer. Yeah, I have one. Not because I ever thought I'd need one, but because when you've been emotionally starved for years, you start Googling things like how to prepare for divorce quietly. Just in case. It wasn't a new idea. It was just the first time I believed I'd use it. At 6 p.m., I finally got a message from her. It said, "Where are you? Are you okay?" Like she was playing concerned wife. Like she hadn't evaporated emotionally over the past 6 months. I stared at it, reread it 3 times, and typed back, "I'm fine. Just giving you space. Thought that's what you wanted." Her reply came fast. "Please come home." But she didn't say, "I miss you." Didn't say, "I love you." Just, "Please come home." Like I was a dog who slipped the leash. I didn't reply. I didn't pack. I didn't drive. I waited. Because the truth was, I needed her to sweat. I needed her to feel something. But what I didn't know then, what I couldn't know, was that the next night, she would confess something even worse. Not to me, but to someone else. And I'd hear every word. I didn't go home that night either. Instead, I parked a few streets away from the townhouse and waited. Not like a man plotting revenge. More like someone standing in front of their own gravestone, just trying to understand what went wrong. I watched the lights flicker on and off. Her silhouette moved past the windows twice. At one point, I saw the man again, the one from before, hand her a glass and brush her shoulder. She didn't pull away. She laughed, head tilted back, a kind of laugh I hadn't heard from her in over 2 years. My stomach twisted. I didn't know whether to throw up or scream. But I did neither. I recorded it instead. I took a shaky 5-second clip from behind my dashboard. And then I left. I drove back to the motel, sat in the dark, and played the video 3 times until I couldn't feel anything. The next day, I went silent. I didn't text. I didn't check in. I wanted to see how long it would take before she broke script. And that's when it happened. Saturday night, 10:47 p.m., I got a voice message from her. Accidentally, I think. I played it once, then again, then a 3rd time at full volume with my hand over my mouth. She was drunk, or pretending to be, and she was laughing, giddy, breathless, and said, "God, I wish I could just stay here forever. He doesn't even notice I'm gone." Then someone in the background said, "You sure he won't check your phone?" And she replied, "Timo? Please. He's like a houseplant. You forget to water him, and he just wilts. Doesn't even complain." They both laughed. That laugh. That same cruel, weightless, carefree laugh. It was a bullet I didn't see coming. But here's the thing, I did notice. I noticed everything. And now, she wasn't just cheating. She was mocking me for loving her too gently. That voicemail changed everything. Because now, I wasn't asking whether to leave. I was planning how. Quietly, cleanly, and with the kind of closure she never saw coming. By Sunday morning, something in me had crystallized. I wasn't crying anymore. I wasn't pacing motel floors or obsessively replaying her voice message. I was calculating. I spent 2 hours backing up every piece of evidence I had: photos, video clips, voicemail, timestamps, chat logs, into an encrypted cloud folder and named it something boring like work_tax 2022. She would never look. Then I made a separate folder called Exit. Not because I was planning revenge. I'm not that guy. But because I realized she was betting on my silence. On my weakness. On me doing what I've always done, shrinking, apologizing, swallowing the disrespect like it was my job. Not this time. I started forwarding the folder to a divorce lawyer I had bookmarked months ago but never contacted. Her name was Eliza Rains, sharp as a scalpel, and known for keeping things discreet. I sent her a message with no details, just, "My wife thinks I'm too soft to leave. I'd like to prove her wrong." Within 2 hours, she replied, "Let's talk." That evening, I did something bold. I went home, walked in like nothing happened. Iris was in the kitchen, reheating something in the microwave, her hair up in a messy bun, wearing the hoodie I bought her on our first anniversary, the one that used to mean something. She looked surprised, maybe even nervous. She asked, "You okay?" I smiled and said, "Yeah, just needed air." Then I hugged her, not because I forgave her, but because I needed her to think I was still under her spell. She relaxed in my arms. And in that moment, I felt absolutely nothing. Not anger, not love, not pain, just a growing certainty. Like watching a chess match unfold and finally seeing the winning move. I didn't mention the voicemail. I didn't bring up the townhouse. I didn't say a word. Because now, I wanted her to talk. I wanted her to lie. And the more she lied, the easier it would be to leave without looking back. She poured wine. We sat. We talked. She acted normal, sweet even. Said things like, "I missed you." And I was worried. And I nodded, playing my part. But inside, I had already left her. She just didn't know it yet. The countdown had begun. And in 72 hours, she would realize that the ghost she thought she married had finally disappeared. This time for good. For the next 48 hours, I became someone else. Not cold, not cruel, but unreadable. I didn't accuse her, didn't snap or snoop. Instead, I leaned into the version of me she believed I was: soft, predictable, too afraid to walk away. I smiled when she talked. I washed the dishes after dinner. I even asked about her work like I still cared about her answers. Every second was a test, and she failed all of them. She didn't once mention the townhouse, the man, the voice message, or where she really was during my absence. She assumed I hadn't pieced it together. But I had. Completely. And the more comfortable she got, the more reckless she became. Monday evening, she forgot to come home until nearly 11 p.m. No excuse. No apology. Just walked in, tossed her bag on the couch, and said she had a work thing. She didn't even realize she still had foundation smudged near her collarbone and a different perfume than the one she kept in our bathroom. I didn't flinch. I just said, "You must be tired." She blinked, caught off guard by how easily I let it go. That's when I knew she thought she had me wrapped around her finger again. But what she didn't know was that earlier that day, I'd already met with Eliza, the lawyer. We didn't do it over the phone. I went to her office, sat across from her, and handed her a flash drive with everything. She looked through it in silence. At the end, she simply said, "You're ready." And I was. More than I've ever been for anything. Eliza laid out a strategy: financial documents to gather, accounts to freeze, insurance to separate, privacy protocols to lock down. We'd file in stages. Quietly. And when the papers were finally served, there'd be no warning. No dramatic argument. Just a clean surgical break. But I wanted one thing first. One last moment of clarity. Not for closure. For confirmation. And I got it on Tuesday night. She was in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Face up. No password. She'd unlocked it before she walked away, too casual to think I'd touch it. But I did. I didn't snoop. I searched. I typed his name into her messages. There it was. A thread labeled G with a heart emoji. I opened it. And there, like a punch to the throat, was a message she'd sent just hours earlier. He doesn't suspect a thing. I'm playing it safe for now. Few more days, and I'll tell him I need space. That should be enough to keep things civil. I locked the screen, placed the phone exactly where it had been, and sat on the edge of the bed. She came out 10 minutes later, towel drying her hair, humming like it was just another night. I smiled at her. She smiled back. And that was the moment I decided. She thought she was planning her exit. But in less than 24 hours, she would find out I'd already left. She just hadn't noticed the door was open behind her. Wednesday morning, I made coffee like I always did. Same mug, same countertop, same faint sunrise filtering through the blinds. She shuffled into the kitchen wearing one of my old shirts, her hair still damp from her shower. She kissed my cheek like nothing was broken, like she wasn't preparing to disappear. I asked if she wanted eggs. She said yes. I made them perfectly, just the way she likes. Soft center, sea salt, cracked pepper, no toast. She smiled, but I didn't smile back. I watched her eat, quiet, waiting for the moment she'd pretend again. And just like clockwork, she played her part. I've been thinking, she said between bites. Maybe we could take some space this weekend, just to clear our heads. Not a break, just a breather. My chest tightened, but I nodded. I told her that was probably a good idea. That evening, I packed a bag, not with clothes, but with the bare essentials I would need for 2 weeks. Documents, my laptop, an old hard drive, a flash drive with all my passwords. She thought I was going to my brother's place. That's what I told her. But instead, I went to Eliza's private referral, a furnished apartment leased under a quiet LLC they use for high-profile separations. No paper trail, no shared accounts, no drama. I stayed up until 3 a.m. that night, writing her a letter. Not bitter, not cruel, just facts. I told her I knew. I told her I'd heard the voicemail, seen the townhouse, read the messages. I told her I wasn't angry anymore, just done. And I told her, for what it's worth, that I hoped the man she threw me away for could handle all the pieces she shattered in me. Then I left the letter on the kitchen counter. Next to it, I placed her wedding ring. Mine was already in my pocket. I turned off my phone, deleted my social apps, removed myself from our shared calendar, and vanished. No confrontation, no fight, just a locked door and a silence she would have to live in. Because ghosts don't scream when they leave. They don't make noise. They disappear. And when she walked into that kitchen and saw the letter, she would finally realize something she never expected. I had already stopped being hers long before I walked away. She found the letter around 9:10 a.m. I know this because at 9:13, the first call came in, blocked number. I didn't answer. At 9:16, a text, Timo, what is this? Then, are you serious? Then, call me. I didn't. By 9:30, she was flooding my inbox with emails, each one messier than the last. The first was disbelief. We can talk about this. Why would you leave like that? The next, deflection. You misunderstood. Nothing happened. I was just confused. Then came the guilt. You don't just walk away from 6 years like it's trash. And finally, desperation. Please. Just meet me. Please. I read every word. I just didn't respond. Not out of spite, but because I knew what she was really mourning wasn't the man she betrayed. It was the version of me who would have still forgiven her. But that version of me was gone. I think she thought I was bluffing, that I'd come back after a few nights, that the silence was part of the performance. But it wasn't. It was the finale. What she didn't know was that while she was rereading my letter, I was at the bank finalizing the freeze on our joint account. I'd already transferred my half into a private account days before. All legal, all clean. She had her own funds, her own credit cards, her own salary. I left nothing messy, nothing cruel, just a vacuum, an absence. That evening, she showed up at my brother's place, the one I told her I'd be staying at. She knocked, pleaded, cried. My brother didn't let her in. He simply handed her the manila envelope I had left for her, containing the first set of divorce papers and a USB drive with everything she never thought I'd have the spine to collect. Proof, screenshots, dates, times, GPS logs. Nothing graphic, nothing explicit, Just the undeniable truth of how casually she discarded me. And a note attached. I loved you quietly. You broke me loudly. I'm healing in silence now. Please don't follow. She hasn't. Not yet, at least. Maybe because she knows it's over. Maybe because she finally realized I wasn't bluffing. Or maybe because she saw in my exit something she never expected. Not anger, but dignity. And that's the part she can't understand, that I didn't leave to hurt her. I left because I was done letting her hurt me. It's been 31 days. I count because each one has felt like reclaiming a breath I didn't realize I was holding for years. The silence that used to feel suffocating is now something I choose, not something I'm sentenced to. I walk more. I sleep better. I don't check my phone every 5 minutes waiting for a version of her that never existed. And maybe the strangest part? I'm not angry. I thought I would be. I thought I'd want to burn everything down, curse her name, become the bitter man in every breakup song. But I'm not. I'm just lighter. Some mornings, I still catch myself reaching for her side of the bed. Some nights, I remember the way she used to trace circles on my wrist when we watched movies. And yeah, it still stings sometimes. But it doesn't own me anymore. That's the difference. I didn't leave because I stopped loving her. I left because I finally started loving myself. And if you're listening to this thinking, maybe I'm Timo. Maybe I've been shrinking in silence too long. Let this be your sign. You're allowed to outgrow people who leave you starving for the bare minimum. You're allowed to walk away quietly. You don't need fire to make it final. Sometimes the softest exits echo the loudest.